All right, so today we're talking about similarity and congruence transformations. So I would recommend that you get out those 5.6 notes because we're going to look at those charts again, those charts on like reflections and rotations. We're going to have to look back at them. So different transformations that we've learned have been, if you think back in previous chapter 4, we learned dilation, where you either made something larger or smaller. That's a transformation. On Friday, we learned about translations, which was sliding left, right, up, down. We learned about rotations. Which rotations did we do? We learned about 3 rotations. 90 degrees clockwise, 90 degrees counterclockwise, and 180. And then we learned about reflections. We learned about either a reflection over the y-axis, which would go like this, or reflection over x-axis. We learned about those 2 reflections. So we're going to do those, work with those again today. So identify the transformation from the original to the image. So this is going from red to blue. If you don't have a picture to look at, or if you don't have a colored picture to look at, how do you know which one is the second one?
Oh, if the dash.
The apostrophe. So the apostrophes next to the letter mean that that's the second one, okay? So what we're going to do here is we are going to list out the coordinates of A, B, and C and try to figure out what has happened. So, all right, so for A, it would be -2, -1, B and C. So B is 1, 2, and C is 2, -2. Okay, so then I'm going to list out my prime coordinates. So A prime is -4, -2. B prime is 2, 4. And C prime is 4, -4. Okay, so does anybody see what happened to the coordinates? Yes. They doubled. So this would be a dilation because the coordinates are doubled. So the coordinates are doubled. It is a dilation. Okay, so because it is a dilation, the triangles aren't congruent. They're not exactly the same, but they're similar. Okay, so if we take a look at the next one, there is not a graph that goes with this, but you could look at the coordinates. So look from like A to A prime and B to B prime and see if you can figure out what happened. I just heard ×3. So the coordinates are all tripled. So this would be a dilation. So the coordinates are tripled. So it is a dilation, and because it's a dilation, it wouldn't be congruent, it would be similar. Okay, So if we look at the next one, we do have a graph to look at. So these are two pentagons. So remember, we are working today with dilations, translations where you're just sliding, rotations, or reflections. So if you take a look at these two pentagons, are they facing the same direction?
No.
No, they're not. So a translation where it just slides left, right, up, or down would be not an option for this one, because if it's a translation, they would have to be still in the same direction. Okay, so we're looking at either a rotation or a reflection for this. So I would probably write down at least like 3 or 4 coordinates and see if you can figure it out from there. So A is 2, 0. B is 3, 2, and C is 4, 1, and then I'll write down the prime. So A prime is -2, 0. B prime is -3, -2, and C prime is -4, -1. Okay, so here's where those 5.6 notes are going to help. So I want you to look at those two charts, either the reflection chart or the rotation chart, and figure out which one this fits in. So what is happening here, like from C to C prime?
You just add the negative sign.
So you're multiplying by -1 on one coordinate or two. You're multiplying by -1 on both your X and Y coordinates. So you need to look at your chart and figure out which one has you multiply X and Y times the -1. 180 degree rotation. Okay, I agree with you. So 180 degree rotation. If something is rotated, is it congruent or similar? If you are just spinning something around, does it change the size?
No.
No, so this would be congruent. A rotation doesn't change the size of the figure. Okay, so on all of these problems, you would need to state, is it congruent or similar, and then what transformation happened. Okay, so you have like 2 different parts of your answer. All right, so if we look at this one, we have 2 rectangles. Are they facing the same direction when you look at the letters?
Yeah. Yes.
BC is both on top, right?
Yes.
So a rotation, could that be possible?
No.
No, not the ones that we have, not 90 or 180. Could a reflection be possible?
No.
No, because a reflection would have to be backwards from each other, right? Like it'd have
Yeah.
to be BC and then CB. You'd have to have a mirror image. So what is the only thing that's possible? So now, translation or a dilation. Is this changing size? No, so it's got to be a translation, which means left, right, up, or down. So going from B to B prime, what directions do you have to move?
Up.
Over 3, up 4.
Okay, I heard up 4, so translation. All right, up 4,
Over 3.
and I heard over, but what direction's
Right.
over?
Right.
Right, 3. Okay, and is this congruent or similar?
Congruent.
Congruent, correct. In my opinion, the translations are the easiest of all of them to do, because you're basically just like counting boxes to see where you went. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. So this one doesn't have the shape graphed for you. You have to graph it. Some of you probably could do these without graphing, but I think sometimes it's easier to look at the graph to have as a reference. So graph the original and the prime. Okay, so when you go to graph this, are they facing in the same direction? No, so a translation is out. It's not a translation. It didn't go left, right, up, or down. Are they the same size? Yes, so a dilation is not an option either. So we're looking at either a rotation or a reflection. Does it look like a reflection?
No.
Does not to me either, because they're turned in a totally different direction. So now we're looking for rotation. So try to figure out how many degrees and what direction. Yes.
90-degree clockwise.
Okay, I would agree with 90-degree clockwise just by looking at it. What does your chart tell you that you have to do for 90 clockwise? What does it tell you that you have to do?
Multiply each x coordinate by -1 and switch the x and y coordinates.
Okay, so you're multiplying x times -1, and then you're flip-flopping x and y. So if I just write down one coordinate just to double check to see if that happened. Did x take times -1 and then you flip-flopped? Yes, that happened. So this is 90-degree clockwise. And is this similar or congruent? Congruent. Okay, so on the next example, again, you have to graph your original and your prime. Okay, so are these facing the same direction? No, so
No.
translation is out. Are they the same size?
Yes.
By the picture, yes.
Yes.
So dilation's out. So we're looking at rotation or reflection.
Rotation.
So if you look at your coordinates, let's look at A to A prime. So look between your reflection and your rotation charts and see which one, first of all, what's happening here? What happened from A to A prime?
Times 1
It's just-
to the second one.
Okay, so the
Times
y value got multiplied times -1, and that's it. That's all that happened. So which one on your charts, what has the y value times -1, and that's it? 90 counterclockwise. I think 90 counterclockwise also involves flip-flopping x and y, doesn't it?
It'd be applied, so it'd be across the x-axis.
Okay, so I agree with you, a reflection across the x-axis, because clockwise 90 degrees involves flip-flopping x and y, but a reflection does not. So reflection on the x-axis would be multiplying every y times -1. So reflection on the x-axis. Is it congruent or similar? Congruent. Okay, on that last problem, we already have the graph done for us. So if you just look at this graph, so are the letters in the same location?
No.
No, so translation is out. Are they the same size? Yes, so dilation is out. So we're looking at rotation or reflection.
Reflection.
You guys are saying reflection. Which axis is it reflecting over? Correct. So reflection on x-axis. And it is congruent. Okay, so for your homework assignment, I do have graph paper for you because you do have to graph a lot of these. This is your homework assignment, page 234.